Today we're looking at the leading theme on ASX, which is defence exposed companies. The top 6 within that group, we're going to look at their momentum and a leading indicator for them, which is what we call the Launchpad. That shows that this company is poised to move, so worth investigation. Defence companies and this whole theme is one that we get very excited about because when the US starts to increase their budgets, we have some small and microcap companies here in the ASX that can quickly lift off if they secure a solid contract. This whole theme can move similar to lithium, uranium, and coal. Just when a commodity price takes off, the companies can go for multi-month rallies. So we want to look at these companies and understand why, how, what's going on, and is there a good trading opportunity there? There's also a common theme within the charts if you look at price setups and technical analysis to really look out for: cup and handles and VCPs. Now, looking at this and to identify it, we share this list, the 30-30 list, with our YouTube members every single week to help them keep on top of the leading themes and the best performing companies on it. So what we talk about in the Friday videos is we go through this list and we identify the best themes. And that's where today's number 1 came from, is defense companies, looking across the whole ASX, which ones have the best momentum. So there's the list that we share with members. They get to comment on it and put through requests for the Friday recording. But these top 6 companies are the best performers on the ASX within this defense space. You'll see here, top right-hand corner, 225% return for Triple T, Atomic Limited. And that's also the best performer of the month with a 54% return. But together as a group, they rank as number 1, and that outstrips the next 6 that are all mining companies or mining exposed themes. Very interesting. Now, 3DA, when we look at number 6 in the ranks, we know that Amarera International, they're a leading provider of advanced manufacturing technologies. What they're looking at here, they're a global leader in the provision of the manufacturing technologies, primarily in the field of 3D printing of metals. We're going to see that as well with TTT. They're headquartered in Melbourne, Australia, but they have solid operations in the United States and France. Critical that US spending. Now, looking at the chart here, you're going to see a little VCP. So after it had the drop off November, December, it's rallied out of the lows, got back over the 50-day moving average. That's the first contraction, the second contraction, and the third one right here. Where we are today, they're actually forming a fourth contraction and a coil as well. Very interesting if you want to drill down on those. If you don't know what a VCP is, we'll put on the top right-hand corner a link, because that's our most popular video to date, because so many people love the VCP tutorial, and it's got a 2-time world champion behind it, Mark Minervini, who created it. But we've digressed and we go along. We want to know that leading indicator. So we're zooming here in the last couple of months. We want to know sort of since the start of 2025. Well, how can we tell if there's a bit of a pop coming here? Now, they're ranked number 6th, so clearly they haven't broken out and rallied yet, but good strong volume is always an indicator. The one that we use, so the top score here is a momentum rank. You notice that it's been kind of flat. They haven't had a huge amount of momentum in the last few weeks. Remember, here's January. So we're looking at a zoom in of that last part of the chart, sort of this area here, January, February. Momentum has been flat. So as we expect, that's slow and low. What we see here is that what we're looking for are these 2 little markers. So the Launchpad rank of less than 30. So it's in that list that we share with members on a Thursday. And then our top 30 momentum rank, which is that little X. We can see that they moved quickly between a Launchpad rank and then top 30 X. That's the yellow orangey X. They became one of the top performing companies on the ASX for that period. The blue dots are the key ones that we're going to focus on for this video, because that's when they hit the Launchpad. And when they hit the Launchpad en masse in the same theme, that's our heads up to drill down on that theme and start researching to look for our trading setups. So we'll see this as a common theme throughout the other companies that we're looking at. The next one's Codan. So this is a familiar name for those who have traded momentum for quite some time, as well as defense. So they're a global leader in communications and metal detecting technology. That there was a bit of exposure to mining there for a while, but the defense contracts are ramping up significantly. So they manufacture a range of high-value electronic products associated with, and that is sold into governments, businesses, aid, humanitarian organizations, and customers around the world. There's 3 key divisions of communications: metal detection and tracking solutions. So we're thinking of robust, reliable, easy-to-use communications for out in the bush or in the middle of war zones, and that enable the customers to communicate anywhere, anytime, design and manufacturing the world-leading metal detection products, thinking of bomb detection, but also used for gold prospecting. That's where that overlay comes in with the mining, that theme, the mining services, treasure hunting, landmines, and clearance. as well as high frequency radio for satellite solutions tracking and monitoring assets. Think of tactical zones, Russia-Ukraine war, that kind of thing. Codan's performed well, but look at that kind of flat line with the momentum over the last more than a quarter. We're going to expect a pretty low rate on the momentum score when we see it, but that then tells us, well, if there's a kick up because it's held its rally and sat high in the range, if there's a kick in the Launchpad, we want to be paying attention. Let's see if we can see it. We've had a couple of pings on the Launchpad. So these diamonds are when it reaches that top 30 list. It's ranked 30 or below in the Launchpad, and that's that leading indicator for us. So we can see it's had it back a few times within the last month or so, and that's when it's been rising. And the momentum has just started to kick up in the last few weeks around that similar time. So that's CDA. Moving into IMB. Now, IMB works in a bit of a different space, still defense, but more a personalized level. So we're looking at family and personal level security. Think of bodyguard security detail for the rich and the famous, a lot more to it, like emergency planning, evacuation, penetrability of existing residences, family security solutions, looking at phone-based distress, location services, customized electronic dashboards. So the things that we need as individuals, if we're living in the place of a war zone or we're traveling internationally and we're concerned about our safety, this is the company that really provides it. Also crossover, we think of Hollywood movies where we've seen so many times that kind of security detail. In this chart, though, we've seen one large contraction, and we're looking at this sort of compressing here and really coiling up low volume in the January period and tight ranges before it started to pop out. So where do we see an indicator for a Launchpad? We didn't actually see one. It does happen, but when we look at them en masse in a theme, it does help to then drill down and then look at all the constituents within it. So we can't say that we saw a heads up on it. So it goes. Next one in the list, EOS. Well, we've seen EOS-based systems. We've seen them for many times. Similar thing to Codan. When we see defense pop up, we do often see them as a leader in that because they are a global leader in space information and intelligence services. So the Aussie company that aim for making accessible, predictable, and safer for technology and access to intelligence and information services. Their two main sectors, space and defense. Core focus, so providing space debris tracking and space traffic management services, phenomenal. But the defense side, which gets them into this thematic, is developing and manufacturing remote weapon systems and laser communication systems. Okay, if you've watched the news in the last couple of years, you'll see the importance of those kind of things. Again, we've got a volatility contraction pattern. So as it's been downtrend, it is in the bottom half of the chart. We don't really love to see that under the 200-day moving average, but now back over the 50 being the green line. One contraction, two contraction, or you can start one here, a second one, and then a smaller third one, and then it's popped out with a bit of positive news and decent volume to go with it. Good move, and it's broken what Gary Glover calls a B wave. So did we get an indication on the Launchpad? Remember, we want to see these blue markers. That's when it's in a top 30 Launchpad. We definitely did. EOS gave us a fair few pings on that list. If they look heads up, have a look at EOS, and then if the thematic ranks highly, like it is now number one for momentum, if it ranks number one on the Launchpad, let's get in there and investigate that thematic because there could be some good trades ahead of us. So that's EOS. Moving to the next one, ASB Austral build. Austral being the aluminium shipbuilder and defense prime contractor. So we know that they specialize in the design, construction, and support of defense and commercial vehicles. They've delivered over 300 commercial and defense vehicles for more than 100 operations in 54 countries worldwide. Large company and synonymous with defense in the Australian market. Massive chart, massive rally, good strong movement. What we ideally want to see is in this period, well, did we get a heads up in this coil, this compression in sort of the very first weeks of January this year? Did we get a heads up that there was a Launchpad ranking to tell us, zoom in on this? This looks like it's moving positively. Also, obviously crossing over with volume analysis. We didn't get it till we saw it top 30 momentum. That sometimes happens, which then echoes in the importance of understanding how that thematic's working and is that thematic ranking highly in the Launchpad side of things. Then we see Triple T. Okay, a solid chart. This is the best performer that we saw earlier, with gains of over 50% for the month and then 220% over the last year. It is slightly more erratic than some of the other ones because it's a lower share price under 30 cents, but we've got sort of a cup and handle forming in here, bit of a cup and a handle, and then it's broken out in the last couple of days above that handle. Positive from a Bulkowski perspective is that it already rallied into the cup and handle, so that does bode well for hitting profit targets. Did we get an early indicator? That's the key thing. We definitely did. It hit the Launchpad a few times throughout January, and then sort of early January, mid-January, and then it became a momentum leader with these crosses over here. So it's obviously a market leader right now with that solid performance, but it has been for quite some time being in the top 30. So right at the start of the year, we got a ping where we saw, okay, it's in the Launchpad and the momentum score. Well, let's check that right at the start of the year. Start of January, just in here, where this grey line here crosses over, we're actually seeing that it increases in the Launchpad significantly. That tells us to investigate and look for a possible setup. Maybe VCP or compression coil if you're looking for it. Really tight ranges here with negligible volume. So it's on our shortlist from the Launchpad right at the start of the year. And we're looking for an excuse to buy it pretty much. Is it a strong theme? Is there sister support? Obviously running fundamentals and the other filters that everyone does for themselves. And then pops up, breaks the B wave with a bit of an episodic pivot, and then away it goes. So they're the leading companies on it. How do we keep track of it? Well, we'll put a video in here into the importance of why we look at sectors on the ASX, and we drill down to the extra layer of thematics to see what we'd like, see where the best performing companies are associated, because some of these companies are in different GICs, sectors and industries, and they won't actually tell us the full story. So we drill down on the importance of thematics to understand the company exposures or the economic exposures these companies have to help drive these stronger prices. These are the best themes, and we'll link to that video right here.